back in Calgary Gym. We hope you didn't go anywhere, because after that really good, close, exciting game, I'm sure we're in for another one as the women of Trinity University take on the women of University of St. Thomas. Another SCAC clash, although Trinity right now in a similar position as they were last year, losing at Colorado, trying to bounce back against St. Thomas, who's been struggling a little bit coming into this one. So Luke, what do you think the key is going to be for the Tigers in this one?
I think continuing to play their brand of basketball, that's really the message every time out in this squad. That's exactly what Coach Hill told us about this team the last couple of games they've played. He said, they just kind of had an off night at Colorado. You look at a little bit of a metric they've put together. They have an average day shooting the ball from the field and the three-point line and from the free throw stripe, then they probably walk away out of Colorado with a victory. Just an off game, nothing really happening for this squad. Back to business, a good opportunity here in San Antonio now that classes are underway to right themselves in SCAC play.
Josie Napoli going down the arc over to Maggie Robbins. Robbins putting up a solid 17 points. Hill also telling us that, realizing Maggie has a scoring threat. And Bailey Timmons drives it in to win. Tigers score first. And Jamie Reedy with the quick takeaway on the inbound. And foul will be drawn. So quick early defense by Trinity. And they do that quite a bit. They are maybe notorious throughout the SCAC for harassing teams on their own side of the court.
Yeah, it's been kind of an up and down year regarding what they can do defensively. We've talked a little bit about it on the broadcast. The departure of Maggie Shipley was a big one in that category, right? She allowed you to do a lot of different things defensively. This team's going to have a different identity because of her departure, but they still want to pressure the basketball a lot. It just looks a little bit different compared to what it looked like in the past.
Josie Napoli with the nice lay-in there. And now the Celts really starting to get a good look at them here on the offensive side of the ball. Amber Bourgeois trying to go into the paint and coughs up the ball. And the means of protection seized by the Tigers there. Josie Napoli staying on the arc. Over to Jamie Reedy, wide open. She shoots, she scores. Can't leave her open. And a quick stoppage of play here as the Tigers are up by 7.
And I'm going to take a little stoppage my own, Reed. I don't think I've ever had a better call than Bourgeois and means of production back to back. You are entirely in your bag, my good friend. Keep it rolling tonight. We're off to a strong start.
I try to keep it rolling as fast as possible. Tigers once again up 7-0. They did this quite a bit last year where they'd go up on a team and not allow them to score in the early goings of the game. And seeing the score right now, 7-0, 100% from shooting everywhere. And you see the huddle there, Coach Cam Hill, he's been here for nearly a decade now. And he says they're in a position they're not usually in. Usually those amount of losses that the Tigers have in the position they're in, still growing at this point of the year. But he says it's a good position to be in because it just makes them all that much better in the long run.
Yeah, this is a team that lost a lot from last year's squad, so I think it kind of justifies or at least leads to reasoning or explanation for some of the struggles they've had. You look at the games they lost this year, 2 really tough road trips, going up to the Pacific Northwest to play some really good teams from Region 10, going out to the D3 Hoops Classic where they dropped 1 of 2, so they still came away with a win against a really good, unbeaten Framingham State at that point in time. But you're right. They lost some things last year, and this team that they return is still very young. Maggie Robbins leading the charge this year, senior on this roster, kind of just the maestro in charge of everything, but all around her, there's a ton of youth that's just learning to play together.
And Reedy hits that one off the front of the iron in the hand of Nia McGee. with the ball now, working quickly down the court are the Celts. Down by 7, looking for their first points of the game. Karina Aragon, and that one is taken away by Maggie Robbins. And Jamie Reedy has the open layup, gets it in. 9-0 lead now for Trinity. Looking at the Celts coming in off of 2 losses against Southwestern and TLU. Really looking for a bounce back themselves, as the start of the conference slate hasn't been too kind to them. Raven Ellis with the ball in her hands. The 3 is put up, and that one will not fall from Hayden Morin. And jumping over the chairs was Macy Whitfield. So Tiger ball as that one heads out of bounds. Some good acrobatics from Whitfield. Certainly don't want anybody getting hurt on the court, so good job to keep herself in play there. Maggie Robbins, sole senior on the team. Handing it over to Napoli. And Josie Napoli, back to Reedy, takes the 3. That one won't fall. And we saw it against Schreiner, that they took a lot of 3s, and they made quite a bit of them, trying to pour it on against St. Thomas as well. As Coach Hill says, if you're going to leave us open for a 3, we're going to take a 3.
Yeah, and they really lived up to that in that Schreiner game that you're alluding to. I think it was that first quarter. They had 15 to 20 shot attempts. All but 2 of them were from beyond the arc. This is a team that's certainly willing to let it fly if that's what the defense is giving them. And they started out incredibly hot, just a blistering pace in that game. This is a team that can really shoot it from the outside, but they've had some ups and downs from beyond the arc all year long.
Raven Ellis gets it down to Whitfield. Whitfield trying to drive it in. That one doesn't go, and Lane King rips it out of the hands of Whitfield, as the Tigers do have a bit of a height advantage against the Celts. Robbins in the arc, gets it over to Napoli. Napoli drives it in, trying to get it to King, but intercepted by McGee. The junior going into the paint, puts it up, puts it in, and will head to the line. So Celts scoreless no longer, and an opportunity to cut it to a 2-possession game.
A nice job from McGee in transition right there. No one from this Trinity side really stepping up to stop her progress. All of a sudden, she found herself within 10 feet of the basket, stopped with a nice floater right there, absorbed that contact and finished in spite of it, and adds on an extra point at the free throw line. Good to get the Celts on the board.
Maggie Robbins. Tigers up by a good amount. Timmons drives it out. Back to Robbins. Robbins going up the court, and now over to Timmons again. They are passing quite a bit, and the foul gets drawn. And just like their male counterparts, they force the issue quite a bit and draw quite a bit of fouls. You know, many things different about the 2 Tiger teams, but there are similarities in between the seams. Robbins back out to Timmons, thought about a 3, instead goes in. Short floater, doesn't fall. Reedy pops it up, back to herself. Now out to Napoli, open 3. That one won't fall. That one swatted, the attempted swat by Timmons, but Celts working fast, and that one out of the hands of Hayden Morin, senior out of Humble, Texas.
Really good job from Napoli right there. Just this Tiger defense getting back in transition. One person in front as the Celts were trying to get to the basket. Robbins coming up, trying to clean it up from the backside with a little bit of help. Good enough to strip that one out of bounds. And Trinity, after that play, reset on the out of bounds. Doing a good job defensively getting the takeaway.
And Reedy, ball slips out of her hands there, still being aggressive with her defense. Now back on the attack are the Celts, trying to bear their claws. McGee puts it up. Instead, it's going to be an offensive foul. Lane King being the one to draw that one. So Tigers will get possession again. They're up by 6. And 4 personal fouls by the Celts here in the first quarter. Meanwhile, Trinity with none. They've been playing very clean.
Getting just a little bit of stoppage on the other end of the court. One of the Celts down, tying a shoe right now. Ready to get back underway here. Timmons will inbound to Robbins. to run the offensive set.
Robbins handing it over to Napoli, back up to Timmons. Reedy, Jamie Reedy going up, kicks it back out to Napoli. Now to Timmons, over to Robbins. Packing it around the perimeter are the Tigers. Robbins puts it up and puts it in. And one coming up as Maggie Robbins proving herself to be quite a viable shot taker. When you don't respect her, she makes her presence known.
Yeah, what a tough shot she just made right there. Moving across the lane, opposite direction, puts the ball back in her shooting hand, though she's continuing to drift away, finds a way to flip it up and in after she got pushed. A very impressive shot from Robbins right there, coming off of a very impressive scoring showcase in Colorado. I mentioned it early in the broadcast. A game in which Trinity really struggled to get going. They fell back on the senior leadership. Robbins, a very steady hand, I believe had her season high in that one from the field. Very good performance.
Celts trying to pierce the Trinity defense. Natalie Greenwood and Kylie Minter on the court for the Tigers. New faces. And Greenwood will certainly use her imposing stature to get some good looks at rebounds. That shot does not fall, but Raven Ellis able to rebound her own missed shot. Now driving in, it's up, doesn't fall. Kylie Greenwood doesn't come up with it. Instead, it is Maggie Robbins. Reedy and Napoli passing between each other. And now Robbins conducting the offense. Reedy takes the three, and she hits it. 14-3 as Jamie Reedy starting to catch fire yet again, already having a nice night for herself, going up from downtown. 8 points on the night so far. 4 minutes left in the first quarter, just about.
That last shot was really good. She was off balance, had picked up her dribble, got it over to Robbins, who recognized the defense just totally left her alone. Reedy doing a nice job of just setting her feet again, was ready for the ball immediately. Robbins gave it right back to her, and she drained it.
Maggie Robbins over to Greenwood. Maggie Greenwood handing it off to Robbins. And Robbins with a nice shot there. More points on the board for the Tigers, 16-5. Celts really needing to pick up the pace offensively. Tigers, 3 of their last 3 shots. You know how well they can score. At one point this season, they were the top scoring team in the nation. And UST looking for an opening, but the Tiger defense proving too steady. Reedy on Raven Ellis. Ellis trying to drive it in, trying to spin. That one won't go. Ball still in the air. Napoli with the rebound. Gets it over to Robbins. Maggie Robbins going in just a little bit to kick it out for Napoli. Minter with the 3 attempt. That one falls. So 19-5. Tigers keep on scoring as maybe a quick shoe tie from one of the Celts. That one from McGee, and Ellis getting an advantage of a lane block there. Shot from the perimeter does not fall for Sabriana Bell. Bell trying to get past Minter, but Minter proving too much of a steady opponent. That one won't fall, but the Celts get another opportunity. That 3 was shot by Nia McGee.
Be a foul on the inside on Greenwood. I think it was Whitfield trying to throw an entry pass down low, elevating for it. I'm not sure who it was for the Celts on the inside. Excuse me, it was Whitfield on the inside trying to catch the ball, but as she went up, Greenwood just had hands on the back, a little bit too much pressure on them. She gets called for that one.
Now quick shot, won't fall, but able to rebound her own missed shot is Whitfield. Now shot from the top of the 3-point arc is missed by Ellis. And St. Thomas really looking for points right now. Bourgeois works it down. Now Ellis with the ball in her hands again. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Whitfield spins. That one doesn't fall. Minter with the rebound. Surrounded by Celts. Draws the foul. That'll be the 5th personal foul for the Celts here in the first quarter. And now we will head to the charity stripe.
Yeah, they're pretty quick to throw the bonus indication on the board here in CalGuard. Okay, ultimately they will head to the charity strike. A little bit of a delay there. Thought maybe that was the last foul before the bonus, and that light came on to indicate the next foul would have sent a Tiger to the charity strike, but instead Minter will shoot a couple here at the line.
New faces on the court for the Tigers: Jalen Martin, Ivory Scott, Natalie Greenwood, and Sky O'Rourke. And Kylie Minter making the score 20-5 as St. Thomas scoring drought of 2 minutes 45 seconds. Now 21-5. So good job by Kylie Minter. Celts maybe wanting to act a bit faster. Hayden Morin, the senior, to inbound, able to get it to McGee. Whitfield trying to find an open teammate. Ends it up in the hands of McGee. McGee in the paint, puts it up and in. So 21-7. Ivory Scott over to Kylie Minter. Minter, a dangerous three-point shooter in her own right, hands it in to Natalie Greenwood. Greenwood passing out to Scott. Scott drives it in, and it's up. And foul will be called there, so some free throws for Scott coming up. And Natalie Greenwood constantly developing here in the system. Mid-season transfer, don't get too many of those. And Natalie Greenwood and Coach Hill having a talk as he really wants to get Greenwood into the system because she can be a really effective part.
Absolutely. Always difficult to get into the groove of things and just gel with the team in the middle of a year. But Greenwood at 6'3", kind of an asset you can't afford to waste. So very quickly, she has made her presence felt for these Tigers, getting onto the court in a backup reserve role from the first day that she was on this roster, continuing to utilize her the best they can. But we talked about a young team here in San Antonio. She's someone that will certainly continue to grow with this program, and I'm sure we'll see her role expand in the next couple of years.
Step out of bounds will give the Celts the ball. It was a nice pickoff by Jalen Martin. Morin looking for an open Celt. And just instead bounces it. Tries to bounce it off, but violation. So Trinity ball. Good defense by the Tigers there. Able to prevent any inbounding from happening. Minter with the ball in her hands. Hands up to Martin. And down to Scott. Ivory Scott, at the top of the key, back over to Jalen Martin. Martin loses the ball, taken away by Hayden Morin. Morin, only with Minter to deal with, will get the bucket in and head to the line. A nice play there by Hayden Morin.
Yeah, and Morin, really nice take in transition, utilized that crossover and got Minter to back up onto her heels just enough, created that sliver of space for her to get right on the left side of the rim. Minter tried to close down in time, but just too much contact there, and Morin already had that one up and in off the glass.
Jump ball there. So we'll head over to the side of Trinity on that contestation there. A good job by St. Thomas to contest it. Martin will inbound it to Minter. And a little bit of stoppage in play as we get everything set up. Minter not touching the ball until about half court. Tigers conserving time as much as they can. Greenwood tries to keep the ball, but it is taken away. Pass not good enough there. Ellis, Raven Ellis from near the elbow. Doesn't get that shot to fall. Board by Natalie Greenwood. Now Scott running in transition thanks to the pass from Greenwood. Hit out. Martin, open three. That one won't fall. And with another rebound, Celts 2-on-1 advantage. Tried to do the fancy flip pass. Hayden Morin trying to get it to her teammate there, but just ends up out of bounds. Tigers with another chance.
Yeah, getting the ball back here with 30.3. So that shot clock will be on for this possession, but effectively out of the picture if they choose to hold this one for the last shot. Kind of just shocking. Pace of play isn't the same considering they've taken the press off a little bit this year, but you look up and it's still a 22-9 game here in San Antonio. A team that can really fill it up on the offensive end of the court. They can put up points in bunches.
It'll be Celt ball. No more shot clock, although the in-game clock was ahead of the shot clock, so I'm not sure if there should have been a shot clock in the first place. But that's neither here nor there. Ball's put up, doesn't fall. Tigers, less than a second left. Shot isn't in time, and it wouldn't have been good anyways. But Tigers throw a haymaker in the first quarter, 22-9. And we will head down real quick to our on-court reporter, Caleb Reed. Caleb, what are we seeing after this first quarter?
I know that you guys mentioned it earlier on in the broadcast, but just touching on kind of the struggles that this team had in Colorado. Whenever we talked with Coach Hill up in his office yesterday, he mentioned, or whenever we asked the question what went wrong, why that team ended up losing that game to Colorado, he just said one word: scoring. Scoring was the big issue, and he actually showed us a little bit of an exercise that they did in the first day of practice afterwards, showing what would have happened if Trinity had shot and rebounded their averages. They would have turned, they would have been able to turn that multi-point loss actually into a multi-point win, and not only for that Colorado game, but he also did it for the game against Puget Sound as well. So far, Trinity just focusing on doing their job, doing what they've done so far all season long, and not letting the pressure really get to them. And as you've been able to see, Coach Hill has been absolutely fired up on the sideline. It is a great atmosphere down here.
Thank you, Caleb. Entering the second quarter, you see the stats on your screen. The Tigers shooting well, and Celts shooting not so well. What seemed to be the obvious statistic to point to in the difference in this game is simply the Tigers have been very good at shooting the ball in that first quarter. We'll see if the Celts can pick it up in the second, but that's not what they wanted, as another turnover ends up in the hands of Maggie Robbins. Robbins, ball in her hand, the conductor of the offense nearly every time they get the ball. Kicks it out for Reedy. Reedy working her way up the arc, now trying to drive it in a little bit. Back to Napoli, over to Robbins. Open three from Robbins, and that one won't fall. Just didn't have the right angle on it. Raven Ellis handing it over. Morin, and that one's off the foot of Napoli. Kept in possession of the Celts as Bell posts up for three. That one doesn't go. Board by Napoli. And Josie Napoli with the rest of the Together Tigers heading with a nice lead. That one going back and over. Kicked out for Reedy. Now over to Timmons. Timmons with the open three. That one doesn't fall. Reedy has the ball in her hands again. She just takes a three, and she sinks it. 25-9. Another casual three by Reedy. She makes it pretty much every spot of the court.
All right, casual, kind of the perfect word to describe that one. Finds the ball falling into her hands, just casually stepping behind the three-point line, rising up and knocking it down. She's been incredibly impressive in her first season here in San Antonio. San Antonio area native, hailing from Boerne, Texas, a coach's kid, high IQ player as Robbins with another deflection. Feels like she's just everywhere on the court for this Trinity team, coming away with some deflections, creating extra possessions on both ends. But back to Reedy, who's shot the ball lights out from three-point territory from the start of her career in CalGuard Gym.
And now Raven Ellis having to deal with an ambush of Tigers. Ball taken away. Napoli over to Timmons. Timmons driving it in herself, and she puts it in. 27-9. And she drives into the paint really, really well. It's one of her specialties. And the Celts looking to respond as just absolutely brutal defense by the Tigers. It makes plays like that happen because when you have that full court press, you want to act quicker. And when you act quicker, the ball slips out of your hands sometimes.
Yeah, just moving a little bit too fast right there. Trying to find Ellis as she was cutting to the basket. That ball just a foot behind her, unfortunately, as Robbins goes straight into the defense. Absorbed a little contact, but was short on that attempt.
Timmons posts up. That one doesn't fall. Elaine King with the rebound and called for the travel. So Tigers still tripling up the Celts. It'll be Hayden Morin to inbound it, but of course, inbounding no simple task against the Tigers. As you can see, there's a Tiger on every Celt. They play like it is going to be the last point of the game. Now, Celts trying to work their way in. Karina Aragon trying to pierce the perimeter. Unable to do so. Defers to McGee. And McGee back out. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Celts have to work a bit quick here. 5 seconds left. And it's got to be a quick three. And maybe a lack of clock awareness from the Celts because they didn't really seem to be in that much of a hurry to put one up. So good defensive stop there by the Tigers.
And Trinity sank back into that 2-3 zone. It was just a really good job by the guards playing at the top, pushing McGee side to side. She was probing, trying to see if she could turn a corner, but they stretched her all the way out to those sidelines, made sure that she couldn't get inside the three-point arc. And ultimately, it resulted in that shot clock violation.
And foul drawn, and a very unhappy Amber Bourgeois. Did not think she had the foul there, but officials say otherwise, so Tigers will get another opportunity. Robbins trying to throw it in for King. King, the pass doesn't get to King quite cleanly. And now thinking about three was Hernandez, but just gets the ball taken away. Another takeaway for the Tigers. Another thing that they excel at. Maggie Robbins driving in quick over to King, and easy as pie. The Robbins-King connection reigns supreme. And the Tigers up by 20. It is a very nice lead for Trinity. Heading into this media timeout, we'll head onto the court real quick to Caleb Reed. Caleb, what are we looking at right now?
One of the big things that I remember you guys talking about in particular was Maggie Robbins and how she's really stepped up to lead this team. Coach Cameron Hill was nothing but complimentary of her during our pregame talk with him, mentioning, of course, she does kind of get the stick a lot of the time, due, of course, to her high assist numbers, but last time out, she got her second highest with 17 points, which is only second. And so with that is
You're going to be back in Calgard. So Trinity out of their huddle. Celts taking a bit more time. But some more technical difficulties. Our apologies there. We'll see how the Celts deal with the inbound this time, as it is a Rubik's Cube every time you inbound it against Trinity. They are a team that doesn't let up. Celts trying to get it in. They do successfully. McGee trying to break through Robbins. Robbins down to, now back to McGee. Jamie Reedy with the takeaway. Reedy over to Robbins. Maggie Robbins down the arc. Back up to Elaine King, who's on the outside of the perimeter. Reedy takes the three, and that one off the hoop. Ball on the floor, still available. And that's going to be a jump ball. It's going to be Tiger ball off the contestation there. So great job by the Tigers, because perhaps a lesser team would have just let that one go and let them get a pass off. But the Tigers, they have no quit in them. Robbins over to King. Back to Reedy. Reedy over to Napoli. Quick three. That one just a bit too short. And now quick transition. That one taken away by Napoli. Napoli over to Timmons. Timmons gets it in, 31-9. Quickly acting in transition, the Tigers score again.
Yeah, great finish from Timmons right there. Put herself in a kind of awkward position, a little bit in the short corner. Took the backboard out of the equation for her shot, but still had great touch on it. Put it up and in. Back down the other way. Celts knocking one down from the outside. That time it was number 21, Karina Aragon, who was good from deep, but challenging her in transition. Napoli blowing right by her to find Reedy in the corner. A little handoff, dumping it to her big. King short as she tried to put that hook shot up. And all of a sudden, pace is picked up here in San Antonio just a little bit.
That one won't go. It'll remain Celt ball as Amber Bourgeois' shot ends up out of bounds. And a little shaken up on the play was Raven Ellis. I think she may have got hit on the side of the head. Specifically, she was holding her ear. Hope she is okay. She goes to the bench, and she's still holding the right side of her head. So, Celts to inbound. They're down 31-12. Number 13 getting it in to Bourgeois. And now on the outside is Bell, Sebriana Bell. Now over to Morin off the back of the rim. So Tigers acting quickly again. Robbins taking the pass from Napoli. Over to Napoli, doesn't take the three. Back to Robbins at the top of the key in the paint. Dishes it in to Greenwood and it draws the foul. So Greenwood will head to the charity stripe as the Tigers look to extend their lead.
Robbins is so impressive. Strictly speaking, the standpoint of her speed with the ball in her hands. She just blows by people, has such great control as we see another jump ball here headed back to St. Thomas. And it's exactly what we saw in this possession right here. Got into the teeth of the defense. Another thing she does so well, she gets so deep in the paint under the basket some of the time to the point where she's actually turning around to hit her teammates behind her.
And a couple of misplays there by the Celts. Sabria Bell lost the ball for a moment, but the Celts recovered, but the pass out to the perimeter was just a bit errant, so Minter will inbound it to Robbins. The Tigers will go to work again. Just under 4 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. Maggie Robbins over to Reedy. Reedy up to Minter. And now Napoli over to Minter again. Minter setting it up for Robbins. Maggie Robbins trying to dish it in. Instead over to Reedy, and Reedy, that three doesn't fall. It's going to be Celt ball as Greenwood will have the last touch there.
Yeah, good offensive possession. Finding a way to get the ball in the hands of Jamie Reedy. Typically gonna prove to be a positive end result. Wide open opportunity right there. From our vantage point, right on line, just a little bit strong, but despite that, gaining possession again here very quickly.
Napoli, I got to Reedy. She takes the three. That one doesn't go. Reedy trying to collect her own missed shot, unable to. Working fast. Aragon puts it out. That one airmailed. It's going to be Tiger ball. A shot from Audrey Hernandez, sophomore out of Houston, Texas. But Tigers in about a 2-minute scoring drought right now. Both sides looking for points, but the Tigers in the more comfortable position, certainly nearly a 20-point gap between the two. But if I know Cam Hill and the Tigers, they do not care about that at all. They want to score as much as possible. Robbins tries to get into Greenwood through her arms. So takeaway by the Celts off the Tiger turnover. And now big lob, quick three. That one falls. Amber Bourgeois, 3 points, 31-15, as the production comes from Amber Bourgeois. Robbins trying to drive it in the paint, puts it up, and that one just goes in and out. Unfortunate for Maggie Robbins. And quick transition, Bourgeois trying to get an assist. Instead, it'll hand back out over to her. That one won't go. And the board by the Tigers, needing to collect it, was Napoli on Maggie Robbins, and the Tigers in a good position still, 31-15.
Continuing to try and end this scoring drought over their last 5 from the field as we get some contact right here. I think it's going to be Bourgeois called for a foul against Greenwood as they were trying to get the ball into her. No one in the bonus here in the second corner, so Trinity going to take the ball out of bounds from the baseline, see if Maggie Robbins can find anyone from her position.
Tigers 1 foul away from being in the bonus. Meanwhile, St. Thomas, no fouls have been committed by Tigers yet this quarter, but another takeaway as the Celts have been having success on the turnover game. Now out to the perimeter, shot put up by Aragon. That one doesn't go. And Minter will be content to let that one bounce out of bounds. And Minter will inbound it to Robbins as another play begins anew for Trinity.
Celts with a 6-0 advantage. It's their scoring run at the moment, but things aren't coming all that quickly. It's happened over about 3.5 minutes. So Trinity still making it very difficult on the Celts on the offensive end of the floor, and Greenwood having to step a couple feet further from the basket on that one, but showing that she can turn and square up, knocking it down from maybe just inside 15 feet.
Three put up from Ellis. Raven Ellis can't have it fall, but Celts able to get the offensive board. Bell, Daragon up to Ellis. Ellis, that one doesn't fall either. Under a minute to play in the second quarter. Maggie Robbins trying to drive it in, puts it up. That one off the backboard. Now lob pass, and Bourgeois able to get to it in time, but her pass is picked off by Robbins. Now Sky O'Rourke, new face in for the Tigers as she comes back in. Greenwood keeps it alive. Good play by the big player, and that makes it so Sky O'Rourke can put that one in for an easy lay.
Yeah, great save, finding Maggie Robbins, who had a nice little touch pass right under the basket to O'Rourke, who finished the rest.
Another new face on the court for the Tigers, Maddie Moeller, number 21. And Ellis having to contend with Minter. Ellis drives it in. That one off the front of the iron. 5 seconds left on the clock. One in just a couple seconds. Robbins puts it up after the buzzer and hits it off the backboard. So after a half of play, Tigers are up 35-17. And here soon we'll be down with Caleb Reed with Coach Hill. But until they get ready, we'll look over some of those first half stats. And 18 turnovers for the Celts, as we're going to go ahead and head down to Caleb Reed, who has Coach Hill with them on the sideline.
Yeah, so Coach, first off, a great job of kind of limiting the Celts during that first half. But you guys have also done great at scoring against a defense that has kind of been kind of stingy so far this year. What do y'all focus on in the week?
Just working together in a complete unit, moving the ball, helping each other on defense, getting defensive stops and closing possessions, which hasn't been great so far, but I think we can get better in the third quarter.
Yeah, and so what are the messages that you're going to be telling the team in the locker room during this halftime break?
Just continue to play hard. The defense got to stay in the game and support their teammates, and when we get open shots, we need to shoot it with confidence, and the ball's going to go in.
Alrighty, awesome. Thank you, Coach. Have a good one.
Thank you, Caleb. And Tigers in a good position to be certain. And Trinity having plenty of players scoring right now. Jamie Reedy leading the team and all scorers with 11 points. Josie Napoli, 4 rebounds. Maggie Robbins with 5 assists. So she's been doing her part on the court to be certain. And meanwhile, for the Celts, Maya McGee leading in points with 5 and rebounds with 5, while Raven Ellis is leading the team in assists with 1. So very indicative of the scoring habits for both sides.
Trinity with a very strong first half, a very strong first quarter. Things slowed for them a little bit in that second period, but it's a team and it's a coaching staff that is very adept to making halftime adjustments. We'll see what changes they do make and how they come out differently in the third quarter.
We'll take a break on the Tiger Network as we'll wait 12 minutes and 50 seconds for the second half to begin with the third quarter. Stay tuned on the Tiger Network. Trinity leads 35-17 over St. Thomas. And the battle of the big cats continues in Calgary Gym. Trinity up 35-17 over St. Thomas. And really heading into this second half, we're looking for Trinity to keep their scoring ways going. And if you're St. Thomas, you're looking to pick up the pace offensively and get some good defensive stops.
Yeah, this was a very interesting first half, one in which neither team really went to the free throw line. Just 2 attempts for the Celts, 4 for Trinity. So see if either of these teams can maybe try and get going a little bit more. That one, no problem right there. Timmons knocking down her first attempt from the outside, starting off the second half the right way for this Trinity offense.
And now quickly going, Amber Bourgeois down. The 3 is put up from Hernandez, doesn't go. Robbins trying to contest, and she does successfully. Jump ball. It's going to be Celt ball, so they will maintain possession, be able to inbound it. But as we saw in that first half, it is no easy task against these Tigers. They are together in the sense that they have so much trust within each other that they will go and make passes and just say, trust me, it'll be there. And most of the times it ends up being there. And now Karina Aragon driving in. That one doesn't fall. But offensive board and a nice layup there from number 13, Hayden Morin.
Right out the gate here, the Celts applying a little bit more pressure in the backcourt as Trinity's trying to advance it. That cross-court pass ultimately getting to its destination. Robbins catching, getting all the way to the rim, but it looked like Bourgeois just had her head turned, would have had an opportunity for a preliminary steal. It's back the other way. Timmons with a lot of contact against Whitfield on that preliminary shot, but there was no foul. I think eventually referee signaling a hold to the table after that offensive rebound. Whitfield running the court, ultimately getting rewarded now with a couple of free throws.
Here we go with Whitfield trying to cut the lead. Right now, Tigers are doubling them up, trying to make that not so. And that one in and out. So at best, it'll be a 1-and-1 trip for Whitfield. That was her first free throw attempt of the night. Trying to make better of her second one, to be certain. And neither goes. So Tigers stay on top, and the ball is loose. So Celts get another opportunity. And when passed off of Robbins out of bounds, I wonder if that was very intentional from Hayden Morin to reset the play. And now the Celts, 17 seconds left on the shot clock, have plenty of time to get this in and maybe post up for a shot.
But it was Whitfield again who dove on the ground after she missed that second free throw, created another opportunity for the Celts, but Trinity continuing to harass them outside. That time, Josie Napoli all over the Celts on the perimeter, forcing that ball to be thrown away. The Tigers trying to find more of a rhythm. They've struggled down the stretch of that first half, the back half of the second quarter. Points were a little bit difficult to come by, and got out to that early lead and really continued the stout defense, but things outside of that weren't incredibly successful on the offensive end. But here, riding the ship in the second half, they've seen a couple fall from three-point territory. That time, Napoli, nothing but the strings on that attempt from the outside.
Napoli's first make from 3 on the night, and that one rattles out, so Tigers with now their opportunity. Timmons running up court, hands it off to Napoli. Napoli going in, kicks it out to Reedy. Reedy will take the 3, and that one off the rim, but a nice rebound by Elaine King. Another rebound by King. Now Reedy will try and put it in, and when you give the Tigers too many opportunities, it's 9 times out of 10 they're gonna score.
Yeah, King, with that second chance opportunity, just drew so much attention that Reedy was also able to kind of snake her way in there. And when she got that ball, there were 2 defenders hanging on side Elaine King, trying to defend her shot that Reedy had a wide open layup.
Now Timmons out to Napoli. Napoli off the front of the rim was that shot. Now Aragon going down the court fast. And the three off the backboard. It's put up off the offensive rebound. Another offensive rebound for the Celts. Tigers come up with it that time. A couple of chances for the Celts, but none of them falling for them, unfortunately. Napoli going over to Reedy. Reedy puts up for three, and that one is airmailed. So 43-19. A couple of substitutions here for the Celts. Sydney Smith, new face in the game for the Celts. Haven't seen her today. Junior out of Katy, Texas. And Sabraya Bell back on the court, the senior out of Rosharon, Texas. Now, number 13, Hayden Morin, will be the one to inbound it for the Celts. Able to find Whitfield. And Whitfield's pass is out of bounds, so it's going to be fair ball. And I wonder if Lily Timmons was kind of holding her face a little bit. I don't know if she may have gotten hit or not, but back to Robbins. Maggie Robbins hands it off to Napoli after some smooth moves. Napoli back out to Minter. Minter driving it in, trying to get it to Timmons. Robbins saves the play, and now Napoli going in. Out to Timmons, takes the three. That one is too strong. And a lot of weightlifting done by Timmons for sure, as that one was a good bit of ways. Now McGee out to Morin. And Morin looking for an opening, trying to conduct the offense as best as she can. Over to Sydney Smith. Smith at the top of the key. Now kicks it out to Bell. Sabraya Bell going up to McGee. McGee can't find the shot to land. So Robinson, the Tigers, leading in this 43-19 game. Tigers average nearly 80 points a game, but the Celts defense has been well enough to limit them to 43 up to this point. Now Timmons with another three attempt. That one doesn't fall, and it will be Tiger ball still. Last one off the Celt, and a couple of scoring droughts for both sides. We haven't had a bucket go in nearly 2 minutes, so this one really slowing down to being a really defensive matchup, although the scoring that the Tigers did at the very beginning has helped them maintain their lead. Robbins with the ball and puts it in, 45-19, and end that scoring drought for the Tigers.
Yeah, big difference in this game is the way that Trinity has found success inside the three-point arc. It hasn't been what they've had to rely on this evening. That is the shot from the outside. Just 6 of 23 from that distance. But outside of that, they're 12 of 21 on the rest of the shots taken. You're right. The offense hasn't come particularly easy for both of these teams, but really for this Trinity side, it feels it's been more a matter of not being able to get good looks from the outside to actually fall. Those looks have been there. The shot just not going down for them so far in the game.
We'll take a little look over to Caleb Reed on the court. Caleb, what are we seeing so far in the second half?
Well, obviously the offense has slowed down for both of these teams, but it was really a defensive focus coming back from halftime from Coach Cam Hill. Whenever he was talking with the team just before the half started, he said, just make sure to box them the heck out, execute, work on smart passing as well, working on trapping the St. Thomas players as well, and just playing some really smart basketball. And so even though the offense has kind of slowed down a little bit, it hasn't really been that bad for the team. Again, still leading 45-19, but just a little update on one of the players. With about 8.5 minutes to go during the quarter, Josie Napoli kind of went down, was holding her right elbow, but all smiles still, so it doesn't look like it's too serious.
Thank you, Caleb. And one of the numbers that jumps out to me on our little sheet here, Luke, is the Celts points per game and opponents' points per game. They score 54 points per game and they allow 59 points per game. And obviously indicative of their 4-11 record, but to have their defense slow down the Tiger offense as much as they have, it's really something to say. But the Achilles heel for some of these good defensive teams is that sometimes the offense just isn't there some games. And for the Celts, that seems to be the case right now, at least, as they are down by 25. They're going to be needing to dig very fast if they want to get themselves out of this hole. And Sky O'Rourke down to Josie Napoli. Napoli trying to find Minter. She does. Minter loses the ball for a moment. It is contested, and it's going to be a jump ball. It's going to be a Trinity ball.
But the thing we were just talking about with this Trinity offense, Reed, applies, I think, to an extent with this St. Thomas team. They've had some very solid looks from outside the three-point arc. They're just shooting a very poor percentage on those this evening. Just 2 of 18 from 3. No luck shooting the basketball from the outside, really, for either of these teams this evening.
And the ball is on the floor. It is a scrum. Jump ball. It's going to be Celt ball this time, as nearly looked like a Kabaddi scrum there at the end for the ball. 45-20 is the score, and the Celts get another opportunity to go down the court. Here we go with number 13, Hayden Morin. Morin gets it in to Aragon. And that one kicked away by Maggie Robbins. That's the second time she's done that this season at CalGuard. She just booted that one away. Gotta watch out over there on the sideline with our photographer right there.
And you're going to see a football player in his stands throw his hands up, signaling to the crowd that that one is good. If there's any NFL teams in search of a place kicker as the playoffs approach, feel free to reach out to Maggie Robbins, who has showed that a time or two here in San Antonio. Kind of has the kick save down as part of her repertoire.
Maggie Robbins, she is really a Swiss knife of a player. She does just about everything on the court. Minter and get up to Napoli. Josie Napoli trying to get it to someone, finds O'Rourke. O'Rourke gets blocked. A nice play by Hayden Morin, and now all alone in front is Bell. Bell unable to put it in on the layup. Just had Napoli to deal with. Had her beat, but couldn't finish. So Robbins over to Napoli. Napoli drives it in, and it is good. 47-20 as Napoli gets the nice short shot there.
Yeah, great job from Napoli, just stopping before she got all the way to the rim. That defense was rotating over. She recognized that, took the open space where it was, displayed some really nice touch in that in-between game, and helping this Trinity offense out that, again, has struggled a little bit. 22 points in a very strong first quarter, 13 in the second, but already 12 here in the third with another 3+ minutes to go in the period.
And this Trinity offense is steady in the way that it is just continually just really, really good, even if it seems like they're slowing down. I think we always have that feeling in the booth that they are going to catch fire really at any moment. At any moment, Jamie Reedy and Josie Napoli could just hit a bunch of threes, and then suddenly the game is completely out of hand. Although right now, with the way things are going for the Celts, only 22 points on the board. It has been a rough day at the office offensively for St. Thomas.
Yeah, just not the same type of shot making that Trinity has. We've talked about this Trinity team being able to kind of score at will in this one when they get into the paint and really break down the defense. The Celts haven't had that same luxury, and they haven't had the three-point shooting coupled with that to open things up a little bit. Trinity's been able to just kind of sag down into the paint, into that area within the three-point line, force those shots to come over the top from the Celts, and when those aren't translating, then it leads to some pretty long evenings like the one they've had tonight. Just 22 points, only 9 makes on 41 attempts, which is good for 22% from the field. We'll see what they can do down the stretch, though.
Pass from Robbins to Napoli is a bit of a miscommunication there. That one goes out of bounds, so Morin will be the one to inbound it for the Celts. Tigers in their patented press. And Karina Aragon trying to dribble it past Minter, able to get it down the court. McGee trying to back her way in. Gives it out to Aragon and through her hands. So another opportunity for Trinity. St. Thomas won for their last 8 shots, 22-47. Tigers really doing well defensively, and they're able to win these defensive chippy contests. And now Sky O'Rourke up to Maggie Robbins, and Robbins back out to O'Rourke. O'Rourke over to Napoli. Napoli trying to drive her way in. Out to Minter. Minter takes the 3. That one goes for Kylie Minter. So half-century mark reached for Trinity. Nearly 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the third quarter.
And Minter caught that one as she was drifting deep into the corner, but shot it very confidently despite that fact. And you understand why. Very pretty shot from Minter right there to get him to the half-century mark, as you noted. On the inside, again, Whitfield trying to create second chance opportunities. That one not working for the Celts, though, and very quickly back the other direction was this Trinity side. As we'll get a couple of substitutes into the game now. Bourgeois back in for the Celts and Greenwood in for this Trinity side.
And that last 3, Kayla Breed telling us that she shot it from behind the basket and curved it in. So just impressive shot making from Minter and this Tiger team. Minter foul on the floor. That shot wouldn't go anyways. Tigers up 50-22.
That one going against Napoli. After she had kicked that one out, getting called, I believe, for a charge on the inside when the Celts waiting for her right around the restricted area. Even though the ball had left her hands, she continued, and her momentum took her through the defender.
And the 3 attempt from Bourgeois, unable to fall. So Maggie Robbins trying to continue her nice night, has had points, rebounds, and assists to her name, and a couple of steals to go along with it. Greenwood, reverse lay is good. When you're Natalie Greenwood, being 6'3" is such a treat. And Sky O'Rourke with the takeaway. Gets it over to Robbins, now to Napoli. Napoli with the 3, and she sinks it, 55-22. And now the Tigers starting to blister the nets a little bit with about a minute left in the third. Timeout on the floor. And really, a scoring drought for St. Thomas, matched with 5 turnovers in the last little under 4 minutes. And 1 for 10 of their last 10 shots. It is just kind of a struggle bus for the Celts.
Yeah, now 9 of 43, but that doesn't even factor in 26 turnovers that you see on your screen. Not shooting well combined with not getting as many shots up as your opponent, never going to be a great recipe for success.
And this is an important game for standings purposes too, because right now at the top of the SCAC is TLU, because we have 3 teams tied with 1 loss. TLU with 6 wins right now, but soon that'll change. But in a 3-way tie, TLU beat Colorado College, Colorado College beat Trinity, and Trinity has beaten TLU. So then we go down the standings as well. We had a moment last year where all the seeding was really weird. We had a bunch of emails about tiebreakers and everything. So right now it could be a similar situation in the SCAC, but the Tigers really not wanting that to happen. So a win here would go a long way, because if you want to be at the top of the SCAC, you got to beat these teams, because the St. Thomas team could be one you see in the SCAC tournament.
Yeah, an important game here in San Antonio. Something we talked about in the men's game earlier on this evening. This weekend will be the final weekend as we get a takeaway right here that turns directly into points. That time Mueller on the inside finishing the layup after they got the turnover via the press. But this Trinity team's going to head into a second round of conference games, and majority of those will be played on the road.
Maddie Muller putting up some quick points for the Tigers. They go up 59-22. And the pace of the game starting to pick up. The 3 attempt doesn't fall. Just off a wrong angle from the rim. Hayden Morin with that shot attempt there. And you can see the standings. And you see TLU at the top, 6-1. They beat Colorado College at Colorado, something Trinity was unable to do. And when TLU comes to Trinity next weekend, that's going to be one of the biggest games the Tigers will play this season in terms of SCAC conference play. And now the lob over to Greenwood. That one out of her hands. It's going to be Kelt ball.
We saw it a couple of possessions ago. You mentioned Greenwood. What a luxury to have someone in there at 6'3". It seems like the methodology, the philosophy right now was just throw it up to her, let her do the rest. Saw the same thing right there, unfortunately. Just brought the basketball down a little too low as we see a last-second heave that goes. That one good from about the logo. And it was Karina Aragon knocking this one down.
What an impressive shot there. And Karina Aragon, she's 5'1". So the smallest player having the biggest shot of the game out of both of these sides. What a shot to end it off. So 59-25. We will head down to Caleb Reed during this little break here. Caleb, what are we seeing now?
So not during the last timeout, but the timeout just before, I got to kind of listen in on the huddle, and it is all smiles down here. Team is really having a great time tonight, but also just kind of listening to what the players are saying. St. Thomas really overplaying basically everything, and Trinity is really, really taking advantage. Coach Hill was talking about how he is really happy with Trinity being able to take advantage of the penetration, of being able to find the gaps. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the way that he ended the timeout. He said, be smart, don't get hurt, and play how you know how to play. And so far, this Trinity team is doing exactly what he told them to do.
Thank you, Caleb. And you know, Luke, that is the second time I've seen a half-court shot go in here during a game, and they've both been from St. Thomas players. Last year during the SCAC tournament, Zach Golozewski hit a half-court shot during the SCAC tournament, and that was against Schreiner. And now we have Aragon hitting a half-court shot here against Trinity. So I don't know what it is with St. Thomas players and hitting half-court shots at CalGuard, but who knows? Maybe it's just a bit of a coincidence there. Maggie Robbins driving in and can't finish it off. So quite fortunate for the Celts as Aragon has the ball in her hands, trying to get it over to Hernandez. And now the shot from Morin doesn't go. Board by Bourgeois. And now Aragon with the 3. That one doesn't fall. Hernandez loses the ball. Reedy with the takeaway. Now Maggie Robbins will conduct the offense like she usually does. Now Lane King on the outside of the perimeter. Josie Napoli thought for a 3, but says drives it in. And that one will fall. 61-25. Tigers extend their lead ever more.
Yeah, and this starting unit for this Trinity side back into the game to start off this fourth quarter. Likely what will be their last stint in this one. Ahead by a pretty healthy margin, 61-25, their advantage at the moment. We'll see what kind of damage they can do in their last stint on the court. Timmons nearly with the takeaway, but the referees coming in to signal the 10-second violation. St. Thomas unable to get that one across the half-court timeline, and it'll go back to Trinity. It's one thing that we haven't gotten the chance to talk about a whole lot with this press. It's changed in that they might not generate as many turnovers, as many live ball steals as they used to. but I think they still do exactly what they set out to. The goals just changed a little bit. It's incredibly disruptive, and it limits the way that opposing teams can get into their offenses on the other side.
And another three for Jamie Reedy. 4 threes tonight. Another great night for the freshman. She is so good from downtown, and McGee driving it in. That one doesn't fall. Board by King. And Robbins helping out a lot this game. Has plenty of assists to her name. Trying to get it over to Timmons, but a bit overthrown there. Robbins with 7 assists. Napoli was 6 assists, so these together Tigers, they really do stick together. Jamie Reedy leads the Tigers with 16 points, and Napoli with 12. It's been a great game all around for many Tigers that we're seeing on the court.
Absolutely right about that. Timmons adding 9 of her own, Minter with 8 off the bench. So a very well spread out offensive effort for this side, as Marin's shot is a little long, but again, Whitfield creating a second chance opportunity, and the Celts retain it.
It's been moved from Aragon, backs it back out. Morin trying to find somebody, gets it to Whitfield. Whitfield will get fouled. Timmons will be charged with it. That is the Tigers' first personal foul, I believe. So no harm done just yet. Now Aragon driving it to her right and nearly loses the ball and does lose the ball. Tigers end up with it. Napoli driving it, keeping the play extended a little bit. He's up for King, and a nice connection. Napoli to King for 2, 66-25, as the Tigers keep on going, and a travel call, so another opportunity for Trinity to extend their lead.
Yeah, and the defensive pressure applied by this press continuing to do its job. Just trying to move a little bit too quickly were the Celts right there. Shuffled the feet before the ball hit the ground, and Trinity gets the ball back. Again, dead ball turnover, but generating significantly more attempts on this end of the court than St. Thomas has this evening.
Robbins over to Napoli. Napoli thought about a 3, instead drives it in. Napoli kicks it out to Reedy. Reedy takes the 3, and that one in and out. Battle for the ball ends up in the Tigers' hands. Robbins over to Napoli. Napoli going in with it. Kicks it out to Reedy. Reedy drives it in and will get fouled. So some free throws for Reedy coming up, as that one whistle was blown before the shot went off, I believe. So, or no, they're going to, not a shooting foul. It's going to be Robbins on the inbound. Robbins looking for an open Tiger. Over to Maddie Moeller. Moeller has her pass intercepted by Morin. Morin with only Napoli to contend with, and she scores. She wins that bout. It is 66-27. Tigers still nearly up by 40. Napoli and Robbins still on the court, along with King. Napoli, that shot doesn't go. Robbins with the board. Maddie Moeller over to Napoli, open 3 for her. Doesn't go, and King tried to snag it out of the air, but ultimately ends up out of bounds. Celt ball.
Yeah, and still a ton of energy for this Trinity team on this side of the court. King continuing to try and create extra opportunities despite the advantage, just not giving up on plays. And as you mentioned, Reed, almost a 40-point advantage. Again, a nice deflection there. Timmons creating that turnover, and Napoli has the ball in her hands at the top of the key. Another nice pass. King just putting on a clinic, moving without the basketball right now, and Timmons putting on a clinic exactly how you want to pressure defensively. Another takeaway, and Moeller from the outside. It's good. Nothing but the bottom. She drains that one from 3. And Trinity's up now 71-27.
10th 3 of the day for Trinity. Quick floater there, doesn't fall. And Tigers with the rebound. They head back down the court, though. Sydney Smith for the Celts that missed that one. Napoli with the 3. And that one won't fall, and nearly ending up in the hands of Elaine King, but instead Celts driving it down. And whistle blown, travel called. And I believe we will head into the media timeout right now. Or no, we won't. They blew the buzzer for substitution. Now Maggie Robbins with Ivory Scott on the court, along with Sky O'Rourke, Maddie Moeller, Anna-Lane King. Scott trying to get it in to anybody, and Moeller just not quite there. Tigers up 71-27. And now Raven Ellis back on the court. Good to see that she's okay. Last time she went off to the bench after, I think, hitting the side of her head. Back on the court. Ellis gets it in. Now Ellis having to contend with Moeller, and foul called there. Moeller will be tagged with it. 3 turnovers in the last minute, 30 seconds by the Celts. A little over 5 minutes left to play here for Trinity. And now Robbins nearly takes it away. Jump ball. And now that will be Celt ball off the jump ball. Of course, the jump ball that we don't actually jump for. It's just a name nowadays. Ellis getting it in to Hernandez. Hernandez down to Smith, and that one hit out of Smith's hands. Moeller getting it over to O'Rourke. O'Rourke being smothered by Celts.
That time, it looked like the nearest referee signaled an over and back call. A little hard to believe considering the fact that Maggie Robbins was already at that volleyball line by the time she caught it. She wasn't particularly close to the half-court mark anymore, but nonetheless, St. Thomas on the run out. Ellis picking it up, trying to step through. And a foul going to get called late and seemingly a little far away from the basket. I think the trailing referee called that one against Elaine King. So now we will get a media timeout with 5 minutes remaining here in San Antonio, but we'll see free throws coming out of it.
We will see free throws. We will also see Caleb Reed down on the court. Caleb, tell us what we should be looking for here in these final 5 minutes.
One of the players that we've highlighted a couple of times here on the broadcast, but also throughout the year, is senior Maggie Robbins. She has been instrumental to this team over the last couple of seasons, was really big last season in both her steals and assist numbers. But whenever we talked with Coach Cameron Hill, he was nothing but complimentary of Maggie. He mentioned, of course, she does kind of get the short end of the stick in terms of points per game, due, of course, to her high assist numbers. But he mentioned that it is great to have our capable of scoring and doing great. And also, in addition, she understands the value of the team, understands the value of the unit, understands being able to contribute to a team like this. And she actually set one of her personal bests this season in terms of points in a game last week whenever they went to Colorado. Of course, it was a loss, but it was her second highest points total in a game where Colorado did not respect her as a shooter.
Thank you, Caleb. 5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter, and Maggie Robbins, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. You know, last year she was a double-double machine. She had a triple-double last year as well, and first free throw is good by Raven Ellis. And now Robbins' day likely over as she heads back to the bench. I think we will see this group of 5 out on the court for quite a while, if not the entire time, heading into the end of this one. Ivory Scott out to Maddie Moeller. Moeller drains it from 3. Great shot by Maddie Moeller. She breaks double digits for herself tonight. Score is 74-28, and that shot doesn't go. It'll remain Celt ball as new face on the court, Taya Rubio, freshman out of the Woodlands, Texas. Can't really hit the shot there, but they will be able to inbound it for another opportunity.
But on the other end of the court, Mueller coming into this one and providing a very nice spark. 5 minutes played, but 10 points on a perfect effort from the field shooting-wise. She's been very impressive, and she's knocked down a couple of shots from the outside in a day where Trinity hasn't been able to buy buckets from beyond the arc like we typically see them able to do.
Now, Trinity working with a sizable lead. Really, right now, Celts playing for pride, trying to get out of this one with any sense of momentum, because the Tigers have absolutely stifled the Celts on offense, and they've stifled them on the defensive side as well. And whistle blown. That one will be tagged to Natalie Greenwood, as a lot more whistles being blown here in the fourth quarter, extending the game out a little bit. Smith over to Ellis. Ellis loses it. Mueller draws the foul, so Maddie Mueller still giving it her all. That is the Celts' second personal foul of the fourth quarter. So not really close to taking free throws for a foul just yet, but Tigers will get an opportunity.
That's very in line with the philosophy that Coach Hill carries, as Ivory Scott puts that one up and drains it from the near wing. A great shot by the freshman. Nothing but net right there as the Celts try and run out. Coach Hill has told us previously that he doesn't view any minutes, any situation as wasted. They all have a very specific, particular purpose. And I think you see that when some names that you don't typically call, maybe don't see with that starting unit, come on and continue this very impressive effort.
Touchdown pass is complete to Sky O'Rourke. O'Rourke out to Greenwood. And went to Minter. Minter over to Mueller. Gets it in to Greenwood. Back out to Minter. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. All the way over to Scott. Nice catch out of the air there. Scott driving it in. Over to Minter. Minter takes a three and doesn't make it. But O'Rourke with the offensive board. She puts it up. That one doesn't hit the rim. It'll be Celt ball. 2 minutes, 58 seconds left. Celts actually in the bonus now. So Tigers will have to be somewhat wary of fouling, although I'm sure they're not in any sort of worry or panic about the Celts coming back at this point. And that one is sent out of bounds. And 45 points off of turnovers for Trinity. They have really taken advantage of the 38 turnovers that St. Thomas has had, and really, much like Coach Smith said before, when you turn over the ball a lot, likely not going to win too many games.
Yeah, St. Thomas with more than 3 times as many turnovers as made field goals tonight. Never a recipe for success. This Trinity team certainly has put its fair share of pressure on the Celts, but St. Thomas has also thrown the ball away a little bit too much in this game. It's been a little bit of everything not going right for this Celts squad. An unfortunate evening for them shooting the basketball. Just a tough effort, but you're right. Something that in the last couple of minutes, they just want to flush. You have a long way to go in conference play. You'll have another matchup this weekend. And then you'll get ready and gear up for that second round of games.
And a little bit of a special moment here. I'm not sure when the last time this has happened, but every Tiger on the roster has scored a point this game, which is something that I don't know I've ever seen in my time here in any sport. So, quick three. That one goes in. A terrific shot from Audrey Hernandez, sophomore out of Houston, Texas. Mueller and the Tigers heading back down the court, 2:10 left to play. Scott looking for an opportunity. Drives it in the paint, gets denied, but Tigers get the ball back. O'Rourke can't finish it off. Board by Sydney Smith, but that one picked off by Kylie Minter. And the play keeps being fast-paced. 79-33. And Martin calling for the ball in the paint. She gets it back out to Scott, all the way over to O'Rourke. O'Rourke really wanting that point, those points. Can't get them, though. And that one off the bottom of the rim. Foul will be called.
And this Trinity team continuing to force the issue. 79-33 advantage going right at the basket was Sky O'Rourke right there. You're right, just seeking out those points down the stretch here, forcing that referee to blow his whistle. Earns a trip to the charity stripe, knocks the first one down. So in a game where for much of the evening, it felt like Trinity was having some struggles offensively. They now have 81 points and another about minute and a half to continue that as Mueller trying to take the ball away in the backcourt again. We've seen her jump those passes a couple of times and strip the Celts that time. A little bit too much contact against Ellis, who will be sent to the free throw line in the bonus.
I'm also going to point out that everybody on the Tiger roster, except for Bailey Timmons and Natalie Greenwood, have recorded a steal this game. They have been quite the effective group of pickpockets as Raven Ellis gets the first free throw there. And when you have Maggie Robbins on your team, that's certainly going to be a good person to learn from when it comes to taking the ball away. Some really good team performances tonight for Trinity. 81-35. That one over to Ivory Scott. Takes the three. That one off the front of the iron. Scott trying to get her own rebound. Instead, it'll end up in the hands of the Celts. About nearly a minute left to play, and Tiger still contesting. Jump ball. It will be Tiger ball, and a little bit of extracurriculars there. We'll see Dan Martin and I believe it was Sydney Smith having some choice words for each other, perhaps.
I think the referee reporting to the table right there. Double technical fouls awarded to each team because that'll be offsetting. See a little bit of a replay right there, a little bit of a off-arm shove, and then, yeah, some words between those two. The referee very quick to get in the middle of it, break it up. Didn't want anything to continue and just gave both players those technical fouls. Considering the state of this game, I think that's certainly understandable.
Sky O'Rourke takes the inbounds, spinning around over to Ivory Scott. Sends it back to O'Rourke. O'Rourke working in the paint. Can't get it to fall. O'Rourke with her own rebound. And that one goes in, 83-35. Tigers still putting them in the Hill vision of scoring every point and playing every possession as if it were meaningful. Because Coach Hill finds every possession meaningful in a game of basketball, no matter what the score on the board is.
I feel like the majority of the free throws that we have seen in this game have come in the last 3 minutes of actual game time. I think we talked about it coming out of the break. Maybe a total of 6 attempts combined between these two teams. St. Thomas going to have their 11th and 12th attempts at the line. Trinity will finish with just 8. Maybe not particularly high numbers for either of these squads, but it's really picked up down the stretch as the energy and momentum has just continued throughout the game.
Ivory Scott hands it over to Mueller, now down to Minter. Minter thinks about going into Martin. Instead, defers to Scott. Scott at the top of the key. Gets it over to Mueller. Takes the three. That one doesn't go. And now Aragon driving it down quickly. Aragon with the spin move. Getting it over to Bell. Bell has the ball knocked out of her hands. That one goes to Trinity. Free ball, and that is going to be a Tiger ball. Ball loose on the floor yet again. 20 seconds left, no shot clock. I don't think anyone will be surprised if, or they say it's Celt ball.
Yeah, the original signal was that it was going Trinity's direction. I didn't see a conference or anything to change that, but nonetheless, St. Thomas with the ball right here. A deep three. Audrey Hernandez with her second made three of this fourth quarter. But now just about 10 seconds left. Sky O'Rourke looks content to hold this one the rest of the way. A little bit of pressure on the outside, but things going to end here in San Antonio at a final score line of 83-39 in favor of the Trinity Tigers.
Solid win from Trinity. We will go down to Caleb Reed as soon as he is ready with our guest of the game. We'll leave it a mystery until then. But yeah, solid win from the Tigers, 83-39. You know, we've seen the Tigers win really big games before, but I'm not sure when the last time they've held a team to just 39 was. It is difficult to hold a team to 40 points or less. And after having an offensive performance that certainly wasn't up to their standards, they come out here and put up 83 on the board. And we will head down to Caleb Reed, who has our special guest of the game, Jamie Reedy.
So, Jamie, first off, absolutely fantastic win, fantastic game overall. After kind of the struggles that you guys had in Colorado, to be able to come out here, fantastic win. What's sort of the atmosphere around the team right now?
So this week we kind of changed our practice plan and we kind of focused on defense and rebounding and kind of playing more together. So it's more of a together sense rather than playing individual basketball.
Yeah, and obviously you had a great day in particular in pretty much every aspect. Very active in terms of defense, 16 points overall. And so how do you feel kind of after your performance tonight?
Really, it was my teammates. They made a lot of really good passes to me, and they clean up a lot of my misses, and they're always there to help on defense. So, I mean, you got to credit it back to everybody because it was a team effort.
Yeah, and so you've been just consistently good all throughout this, which has been kind of a little bit of a surprise. Of course, from a freshman. So I'm just going to ask the question that is on the minds of a lot of coaches. How the heck is Jamie Reedy so consistently good?
Cam prepared me really, really well for this, and just our practice and the way that my teammates have faith in me every single game, it's what's kept me consistent.
Alrighty, awesome. Thank you so much, and have a great night. Guys, that's it from me.
Thank you, Caleb. And Jamie Reedy, certainly an impact player, and really everyone on this Trinity team had some say. Everybody on the team scored points, which is something that I don't know has ever happened in my time in the booth here. And you see the cheerleaders out on the court right now, but a great win all around. You see Tigers dominating really all the stats except for rebounds. And it makes sense because Cal certainly had more opportunities for rebounds with the Tigers blistering the nets like they were.
Yeah, but it was not just the scoring. Trinity filling up that stat sheet really in every capacity. Really great efforts on both sides of the ball today, forcing 40 turnovers from this St. Thomas side. Led to a lot of the success that they had on offense, allowed them to get out and run in ways that they want to, and ultimately just gave them more opportunities to score. They had advantage in shot attempts, 73-57. They shot better from the field, shot better from three, shot better from the free throw line. Just a pretty dominant performance from this Trinity side, and a good night to right the ship.
The team highs for the game for Trinity. Jamie Reedy, 16 points, led all scorers. Maggie Robbins with 7 rebounds, and Josie Napoli with 8 assists. Meanwhile, for St. Thomas, Raven Ellis had the team high 7 points. Hayden Morin with 8 rebounds, and Raven Ellis with 2 assists. A solid win for the Trinity Tigers. They'll be back here tomorrow to play the ladies of Centenary College. That has a estimated tip of 6 o'clock, assuming that the men's game ends in a normal, timely fashion, although anything can happen in SCAC men's basketball after all. But for now, for Luke Terry, everyone in the control room, Caleb Reed, I am Reed Rosales. Thank you for watching this presentation of SCAC women's basketball tonight. Tigers win 83-39. And I wish you a good night.